You're listening to the Shameless LA We Win Wednesdays podcast. Join us every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time via Zoom. ID and passcode details are listed in our description. Welcome and thank you for tuning in. My name is Koji, an adult child, your podcast manager and recorder. Adult Children of Alcoholics, ACA/Dysfunctional Families, is a 12-step, 12-tradition program of men and women who grew up in dysfunctional homes. We meet to share our experience of growing up in an environment where abuse, neglect, and trauma infected us. This affects us today and influences how we deal with all aspects of our lives. ACA provides a safe, non-judgmental environment that allows us to grieve our childhoods and conduct an honest inventory of ourselves and our family. So we may 1. Identify and heal core trauma, 2. Experience freedom from shame and abandonment, and 3. Become our own loving parents. Tonight, you can expect to hear recovery literature with multiple personal shares. The following episode will offer a variety of ACA experiences in recovery. These brief shares were recorded with permission during the LA Shameless Adult Children of Alcoholic and Dysfunctional Families meeting. Tony A's 12 Steps. Step 1. We admitted we were powerless over the effects of living with alcoholism and that our lives had become unmanageable. Step 2. We came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could bring us clarity. Step 3. We made a decision to practice self-love and to trust in a higher power of our understanding. Step 4. We made a searching and blameless inventory of our parents because, in essence, we had become them. Step 5. We admitted to our higher power, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact nature of our childhood abandonment. Step 6. We were entirely ready to begin the healing process with the aid of our higher power. Step 7. We humbly asked our higher power to help us with our healing process. Step 8. We became willing to open ourselves to receive the unconditional love of our higher power. Step 9. We became willing to accept our own unconditional love by understanding that our higher power loves us unconditionally. Step 10. We continued to take personal inventory and to love and approve of ourselves. Step 11. We sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with our higher power, praying only for knowledge of its will for us and the power to carry it out. And number 12, we have had a spiritual awakening as a result of taking these steps, and we continue to love ourselves and to practice these principles in all our affairs.
And then you can let Nick, our timekeeper, know how you would like your time.
Sure. Thanks, Nick. Good to see you, man. 5, 5, 2, and 1.
5, 2, and 1. You got it.
There's like a James H. Adult Child. There was a song, like an R&B song when I was a kid. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Get down. Like the adults smoking, drinking, and all that crazy stuff when I was a child. Anyway, grateful adult child. 10 minutes. So let's get with it. TD, thank you for asking me to share. I appreciate you. And just want to say I've been coming to ACA consistently since I guess Halloween fell on a Saturday in 2014. So I think that Monday morning I hit the 5:45 a.m. Eastern phone meeting. I was like really before Zoom. And right after making that meeting, I called my sponsor in AA and I said, I think we need to part ways, dude. And I just did that instinctively and I've been here ever since. And I just want to give a shout out to someone who I resented for a long time. But as I stick around, I realized that she was actually an angel. She's like an ex-girlfriend who broke up with me that Saturday on Halloween. Halloween was Friday, so that Saturday was the Bill W. dinner dance in New York City. And she broke up with me at Whole Foods on the Upper West Side. that afternoon, and I was crippled emotionally. So anyway, so I've been coming here ever since, and I've gone through the yellow workbook with the fellow travelers, a few false starts. I've also joined fellow traveler groups, and after a few meetings, I decided to walk away. Nothing towards the people or anything like that, but I'm just getting more and more comfortable with making decisions that are better suited, putting me first other than others, that is not rooted in the form of addiction or checking out. Um, a few things what's going on with me right now is one, I don't work on myself anymore. I'm not broken. I'm not a project. I don't do the 90 and 90s. I don't do all that, nothing wrong with that, but I just don't do like my future. Like I need to do this to feel better. That's off the table for me today, respectfully. It's still seductive, but I don't do that. I don't little James that lives within me, he just wants to be seen and heard, and he wants to be validated, and he wants to be acknowledged. He doesn't need to do any more work. I think as an adult child, I've worked so hard to try to like get things right. And now I realize as I continue to stick around, things just will happen in time. I don't need to force anything. I don't need to make people love me. Um, I'm less prone these days to diving head first into a wooden floor. I'm just like, I just want to say this too, and I just lately I've been really coming to like to this belief through the help of the loving parent and a lot of help from you. Like nobody is better than me. Nobody. Nobody. I don't care what history says. I don't care what they were taught. I don't care. Like nobody's better than me. And I'm not better than anyone else. And I'm not less than anyone else. That's I mean, why would someone say something like that? Because I grew up filled with shame, abandonment, neglect, like dissed, left, forgotten. Everybody, I made everybody a priority while I was their option. Everybody came before me. So I learned how to believe I'm not good enough. I was taught to believe I'm not good enough. I have a 3-year-old son. He's loved. Like he's loved. He's loved. He doesn't have to work on himself. He's loved just how he is. Just like that. And I was playing with my son yesterday, and I said, let me play a game. I'm gonna do something to use my imagination. Okay. We were in the backyard, and we were playing a game, but we had a ball and I was throwing it in the air, and he was like, started like go over there. Like his speech is not all the way there yet, but he knows what he's doing. Thank you. Oh, thank you, Nick. He says, go over there, go over there. And then he says, I throw the ball. He says, sky, sky, like throw the ball in the sky and everything. And so I said, let me let me let me do this. All right. I'm my dad right now, and I'm gonna be my little boy, 3-year-old, and but my dad is me, and then I'm my 3-year-old. And I just like did that, and it was just so much. And somebody told me I was brave to do that today. It was so much. It was so much. And this is what my little boy is getting that I didn't get growing up. But little James is getting it now. Nurturing self-worth. In loving homes, children are eager to see themselves reflected by those around them. A positive self-reflection increases their sense of security and feelings of self-esteem and gives them confidence in relating to others. They see respect for their need to be protected from harm and relate to authority with trust and not fear. They come to believe that they have value because they are loved and accepted. Nobody taught me to love myself as I am. Nobody. I didn't learn that until I came here. Like, that's like to love myself as I am, flaws and all. Outside of being an adult child, I'm a human being. I'm going to make mistakes. I'm going to fall short. In the spiritual world and living for spiritual principles, I must fall short. Who's going to do this shit perfectly? Why would I want to be around somebody that's doing this perfectly? Like, I'm going to be spiritually fit at 9, 10, 11, and 12. And I mean, come on, man. Like, come on. Where's the fun, man? Where's the humor in that? You know, and just want to read a few things because this is where I'm at in my alignment right now. To be beautiful means to be yourself. You don't need to be accepted by others. You need to accept yourself. When you are born a lotus flower, be a lotus flower. Don't try to be a magnolia flower. If you crave acceptance and recognition and try to change yourself to fit what other people want you to be, you will suffer all your life. True happiness and true power lie in understanding yourself, accepting yourself, and having confidence in yourself, right? And this is from, thank you, 2 minutes. This is from a legendary person who passed away. I don't want to, say, just I'll say anonymous for now. But like coming to ACA has taught me to be me. Like to go into a room and like, you know what? All right, cool. I don't like the way y'all treating me here, even though my child of origin or my nana says, don't you quit that damn job. You know what? I'm gonna walk away from this $100,000 plus client. You know what? I'm gonna be okay. All right, I'm gonna be okay. I'm gonna walk away from the money. I'm worth more than money. My time is worth more than money and being browbeat and bullied. Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. Oh, no problem. Hold on. No problem. Yes, I'll be there. Oh, there, all that stuff, that negative excitement. I don't need that. So I can roll the dice today and say, you know what? No mas. You know what? My wife doesn't like it. Like I don't. Thank you. I see that 1 minute. And I read something today. I was in my spiritual practice, something came up and I screenshotted it. It said, facing inward, questioning my own identity molded throughout my childhood. Those external influences, my parents, my siblings, and my peers, their unhealed wounds were most likely unintentionally projected onto me as a child, creating a belief system about the world around me and about you. As I peel away the false beliefs, biases, and insecurities, I will discover hidden all along the greatest strengths, growth, and my purpose. The cave you fear to enter holds a treasure you seek. Like this is just like, it's just like more and more and more I'm going into the deep water of my heart. I'm literally going into my heart. Really, that's what I'm doing. Because I grew up brokenhearted. My heart shut down, like shut down. Thank you, gentle time. So anyway, ACA is helping me to like, it's like Tony Braxton had a song, Unbreak My Heart, Tell Me You Love Me. ACA is unbreaking my heart. And I know I'm not trying to like sing on the New York City subway for some money right now, or don't judge me on my singing. But anyway, I love you, even though I don't know you. And welcome to ACA if you're new. And there are a lot of meetings if you didn't get what you needed to hear here at this moment in time. So give me some grace. Thanks.
You got it.
Thank you.
Thank
you, James.
James.
That was
Thank
great.
you,
Thank you, James. Your
Thank you.
singing was great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
James,
you.
it was wonderful.
The laundry list. These are some characteristics we seem to have in common due to being brought up in an alcoholic or dysfunctional household. We became isolated and afraid of people and authority figures. We became approval seekers and lost our identity in the process. We are frightened by angry people and any personal criticism. We either become alcoholics, marry them, or both, or find another compulsive personality, such as a workaholic, to fulfill our sick abandonment needs. We live life from the viewpoint of victims and are attracted by that weakness in our love and friendship relationships. We have an overdeveloped sense of responsibility, and it is easier for us to be concerned with others rather than ourselves. This enables us not to look too closely at our own faults, etc. We get guilt feelings when we stand up for ourselves instead of giving in to others. We become addicted to excitement. We confuse love and pity and tend to love people we can pity and rescue. We have stuffed our feelings from our traumatic childhoods and have lost the ability to feel or express our feelings because it hurts so much. Denial. We judge ourselves harshly and have a very low sense of self-esteem. We are dependent personalities who are terrified of abandonment and will do anything to hold on to a relationship in order not to experience painful abandonment feelings, which we receive from living with sick people who were never there emotionally for us. Alcoholism is a family disease, and we became para-alcoholics and took on the characteristics of that disease even though we did not pick up the drink. Para-alcoholics are reactors rather than actors.
I would like a warning every minute, please. Just kidding. um, give me 5 minutes, please, at the end. How's that?
Better. All right.
Thanks. I appreciate it. Okay. Am I on? We live?
You're on.
Oh, all right. Hi, everyone. Thanks for coming. I am Matt. I am an adult child working on growing my loving parent and nurturing my inner children. So tonight, I'm going to speak on self-worth and hitting a bottom. They go hand in hand for me. And I spoke in a meeting last night on this, and I think I left my notes in that campground, so it's going to be all fresh tonight. So I'd like to actually start with the third step prayer, if I can. I think I've got that here. Does anybody have the third step prayer? I know I've got it somewhere. 120 something. Well, while my co-host finds that, I'm going to share a little bit about me. So I am 57 years old. I grew up in a household with violent abuse. I would call it torture, really, but it was devastating. I was removed from that house by my aunt when I was in 5th grade. My sister, my brother, and I taken across the country to never see our parents again, which was pretty devastating. A kid loves their mom. I love my mom. I love my dad, even though they beat me, and it was dark, but I still loved them. So that was pretty traumatic, just being told that. And there's been a lot of other traumas in my life, some self-inflicted, some not self-inflicted. Probably a lot of bottoms, but I really never felt like I hit a bottom. I didn't know how to identify a bottom. And I do have a couple notes. So first, there's a lot of mention of hitting a bottom in the Big Red Book, page 65 through 75, page 99, 123 and 124, page 336, and 579 through 80. And I guess I neglected to read those before. I thought I had never hit a bottom, but Tony A describes hitting a bottom as an identity crisis, having an identity crisis. And this was really hard for me to grasp when I first heard that. I didn't read it until further along in my program. But I didn't want to admit that I had an identity crisis. I didn't know what an identity crisis was. I thought I knew who I was. I had suppressed a lot of my grief and trauma. I didn't forget any of it. Well, I can't say I didn't forget any of it. I have no recollection of first grade through early fifth grade, really. Like, there's a couple little things that pop up. My sister broke my leg in kindergarten. I remember that. But it's all gone, and it's repressed somewhere. I don't know where. I have a couple good memories of childhood, and I have some really dark, scary, devastating ones. And flashing forward, I drank for a while. Came into the beverage program at 27 years old. And my sponsor kicked me out because I wasn't an alcoholic. So I didn't hit a bottom there. I got 2 DUIs, which is why I first started going to AA. But I didn't see that as a bottom. Maybe I'm dense, but I'm actually pretty intellectual. So I don't think I'm dense. I think it was denial. I think it was a lot of denial, a lot of coping mechanisms, a lot of self-preservation that I learned to survive in the household I grew up in. I had an epiphany last night as I was laying in my tent after I shared, and trigger warning, the suicidal concept here, but 4 years ago, I was having a really hard time, and I walked out to my back shed, didn't tell my wife where I was going. I went out there, had my shotgun out there, and I had it in my mouth and was ready to end it all. And was just slobbering so much, and I reached out and I made a phone call, and that phone call saved my life. And I didn't identify that as a bottom. How twisted is that? I hit a bottom recently. Thank you very much. Not a bottom. I think I saw a light recently. And I saw my core being as grief and pain. And I really identified with that. I saw this shell. My heart was like this pink clay, pink hard clay, or I thought it was a rock. But as I really dug into it, I started crying, and I fell into my crying, and I was losing it. And as I calmed down, I realized that that's just a shell, like a baked on shell on my heart of grief and pain. And that the core of my heart is still there, but it's just trapped in this thing. So I'm taking a step to work on that. I'm going into a program, a grief and trauma recovery program that's going to be 40 days of crying and bawling and learning new tools. And I'm going to practice self-care. I didn't really talk much about hitting a bottom, did I? Self-worth has not been a strong suit of mine. But I would like to read something I wrote, because it started out as a poem and ended up being a letter to myself. But how long did I keep you in the dark? You shone so brightly, and I pushed you back. I tried to be the cool one, the intellectual, the best I could be at things I thought were important. How long did I ignore your sweet, gentle pleas to just have time to be yourself? I am so sorry. I let the noise of the world drown you out. Mom's cursing, yelling, violence, dad's animalistic rage and violence echoed in my head, and I could not hear your little voice. I am so sorry. How long did I wander, letting others and the surge of the world direct us wherever we washed ashore, then fumbling to regain a bearing and push back off and drift again? You deserve so much more. How long can I keep the critical parent at bay? I commit to be here for you every day, to seize the moment every moment and hold the course. I want you to know that you are so amazing, and you have not been lost. You have kept me from the false self acting out on the ultimate destruction Mom and Dad showed us in their ending their lives. And our life is still increasing. The best is yet to come. Thank you for not giving up on me. Today, right now, and forever is how long I've got your back, baby. Thanks for letting me share.
Thank you, Matt.
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 Thanks, Matt.
Thanks, Matt.
Thank you, Matt.
Thank
The flip side of the laundry list. We move out of isolation and are not unrealistically afraid of other people, even authority figures. We do not depend on others to tell us who we are. We are not automatically frightened by angry people and no longer regard personal criticism as a threat. We do not have a compulsive need to recreate abandonment. We stop living life from the standpoint of victims and are not attracted by this trait in our important relationships. We do not use enabling as a way to avoid looking at our own shortcomings. We do not feel guilty when we stand up for ourselves. We avoid emotional intoxication and choose workable relationships instead of constant upset. We are able to distinguish love from pity and do not think rescuing people we pity is an act of love. We come out of denial about our traumatic childhoods and regain the ability to feel and express our emotions. We stop judging and condemning ourselves and discover a sense of self-worth. We grow in independence and are no longer terrified of abandonment. We have interdependent relationships with healthy people, not dependent relationships with people who are emotionally unavailable. The characteristics of alcoholism and para-alcoholism we have internalized are identified, acknowledged, and removed. We are actors, not reactors.
Thank you to Dee for inviting me to be a speaker here. And I'm grateful to be with you all today. I'm going to start out reading something from the Big Red Book from Claudia Black's introduction, and then I will share about my upbringing and where I am today. Hopefully I'll get that all in 10 minutes. So my name is Denise, and I am an adult child recovering in this program, learning to be my own loving parent to my inner family. Something that I didn't know that I had, nor did I know how to do it when I walked through the rooms of recovery. So to manifest recovery as adult children, we need to embrace where fears, misguided perceptions, and distorted thoughts have taken us. The laundry list will offer that framework. It will help us to see and explore how feelings have propelled us into isolation, how we often live as victims, not recognizing choices. We will see how our low self-esteem has us judging ourselves mercilessly, giving others the benefit of the doubt, and tolerating inappropriate behavior. This laundry list has been with us for decades, and it is the wisdom that holds strong after all these years. One asks, how is the body part of this healing? And yet that has for many years been the missing piece. The fear response in the brain is fully developed at birth, yet until children are nearly 6 years of age, they cannot accurately assess danger. They cannot determine what is or what is not a threat, and to what degree is something a threat. Until they are in mid to late teens, the part of the brain that allows them to reason is not fully developed. That is why children need parents to guide, protect, and nurture them, particularly in times of stress. Children raised in troubled families need protection and safety like all children, but they are raised by people who are absent, neglectful, or the cause of the stress and pain itself. At times of trauma, where does a child run toward? Home. But where do you run when the trauma is within the home? The natural responses to trauma are flight, fight, or freeze. For most kids, they need to freeze. They're not able to run or fight. So in essence, they run within. This 12-step program honors the trauma responses of many of its members. This program goes within to bring true peace for those who want it. That's what I found in this program. I started my program just before the pandemic hit, and I come from an alcoholic background on both of my parents' sides, but my parents were not alcoholics. They had other dysfunctions, but they didn't have the drinking component. And so, but the para-alcoholism was alive and well, which means they didn't drink, but they have all of the thoughts, behaviors, perspectives, thinking, obsessions, all of that stuff that the alcoholic does have. They just don't have the outward drinking. And so I did not know that I grew up in a family that was neglectful. It was love deficient. It was emotionally, the emotional component was missing from my family because of the generational alcoholism on both sides of the family. And so I had no idea that I grew up in a family that was missing the emotional component and the connection between people until my life didn't work. And that brought me into program. I grew up in the Midwest, and for all intents and purposes, we looked great. From the outside, we looked great. I looked great. I know how to perform. I know how to look good. And that's one of the things this program teaches me and you, is that we all look really put together. I don't ask for help because it's not safe in my family to ask for help. So me asking for help is, yeah, it was a difficult thing I had to learn to do. Plus, I didn't trust people because of the behaviors of my parents. And I had no idea that that is what's going on with me. And so I, for all intents and purposes, looked fine. My family looked fine, but there was, again, that dysfunction and the missing emotional component, lacked nurturing, lacked attention. And so I stayed busy as a kid. I had a lot of hobbies and things to get out of that house because my parents bickered every day. And I believed that the internal drugstore was what they were doing. They blew up at each other for a couple of minutes and they got their main line of adrenaline. And then they were like, oh, they got their fix. And to a little kid sitting on the floor that's, crawling, that is a really dangerous situation. So I ran within, just like Claudia Black talked about. And I had no idea that this was going on until I got in this program. And so I found myself being the Lone Ranger, isolating, because I didn't know what a boundary was, and I didn't know who to trust. I understand that now. I had to learn to trust. My first sponsor, she taught me to trust. The first thing out of the gate, we worked on, how do I know what a trustworthy person looks like, behaves like, and when I knew that, I could slowly come out of isolation and let people in, because I looked very gregarious and outwardly, if I'm an introvert, the extrovert, I look like an extrovert, but I'm actually on the introvert side. But that was all my false self. And I kept myself busy. And I stayed out of the house because I horseback riding, biking, walking the dog, skiing, camping, backpacking, all this stuff, swim team, all of these things that kept me out of the house because it was safer for me not to be in that house. And so I found myself coming into program because I prayed to a God I didn't believe in. And I prayed for help, and here I am. And when I first heard about a higher power, I was not really overjoyed, but I was desperate enough that I said, I'll just put that over there and I'll do all this other stuff. I'll learn to do all this other stuff. And lo and behold, they say we work the program. Well, the program worked me. Today, I have a higher power that I'm grateful to have because I was willing. And I understand that the spiritual component in my life was missing, even though my parents brought me up as a Catholic. And I see that as you got to get all the rules right, and God forbid you make a mistake because you're going to burn in hell. So that probably contributed a little bit to my not being too interested in a higher power. However, it says that we can choose a higher power of our understanding. Oh, that's interesting. And then it said the reason that most of us ACAs don't really want to get a higher power is because we project our parents' attributes onto this higher power. That was another revelation. And so I learned I could have a God of my understanding, and my higher power is unconditionally loving, which Tony A. Steps tells me that. My higher power loves me unconditionally. Took me a while for that to sink in because I didn't know what that was. Where did I get unconditional love in my family? That's in the third step in the yellow book. I had a hard time with that one, but I worked all the stuff in meetings. And as we went around the Zoom room, someone said, I got it from my dogs. And that woke me up to recognizing that that's where I received unconditional love. There's a song called I Want You to Love Me Like My Dog Does. And I thought that was kind of interesting, but someone who was going to record it introduced it to saying that if he left his wife and the dog in the car overnight because of whatever, and he came back the next morning, who would be happy to see him? That's what unconditional love is. Thank you.
Okay. Well, we're at gentle time, so I believe we will now thank Amy. Hopefully she can hear us. Thank you, Amy. Very good one.
Thank
Thank
you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Amy.
Thank you,
Amy.
Amy.
Thank you, Amy.
Thank you, Amy.
Awesome.
She might have to come back. We'll figure that out.
Chapter 7, Inner Loving Parent. Becoming our own loving parent is the ACA solution. Yet at first, this task may feel awkward or daunting. In many ways, reparenting is simple but not easy. And it's understandable to feel reluctance. Unfortunately, we can't go back in time and make our parents give us the unconditional love we didn't get. And no one else can replace that missing love today. So, with gentleness, humor, love, and respect, we discover how to connect inward with the most vulnerable parts of ourselves and compassionately reparent them. We learn to listen for and to feel our inner child. When we connect to our child within, we can provide the nurturing, safety, and guidance most of us lacked as children. The inner child will usually not emerge, however, until we establish our inner loving parent. So we must first identify and encourage this loving presence inside. We can write a letter and use affirmations to awaken the calm, compassionate, curious, connected, and caring part of ourselves. We each have this type of love inside, regardless of what we might say or believe. Love is there, it is original. And through ACA, we learn to awaken it. We further awaken the loving parent by listening to our inner self-talk and recognizing when it is harsh. The loving parent's role is to set boundaries with our critical inner voice and to care for, nurture, and protect the child within. We learn to stop mid-sentence if we put ourselves down or criticize our thoughts, feelings, or behaviors. We reframe our stumbles as opportunities to learn or grow emotionally. Setting healthy limits with the inner critic in this way is an act of love. We will struggle, have doubts, and become frustrated in our recovery at times. We can do everything right and still wonder if we are making progress. An inner loving parent reminds us we are good enough and we are making progress. That our childhood wounding was not our fault and that we are okay. A loving parent provides unconditional love. the spiritual healing force and inoculation from shame that was missing in our childhoods, and which we use to reparent ourselves today. The loving parent creates a safe space to heal, sometimes drawing as needed from resources beyond our current understanding. With effort, patience, and support from our ACA fellow travelers, our inner loving parent awakens. We grow more comfortable with our new, healthier self-talk. We choose to believe the affirming messages from our loving parent over our critical parent's harsh messages. We can feel more at peace as we better understand our feelings, wants, and needs. As we strengthen our inner loving parent, emotional safety opens for our child within, and new depths of healing can begin.
You deserve to be loved. You deserve something real. Time to heal. Time to feel.
You're listening to the Shameless LA We Win Wednesdays podcast. Join us every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time via Zoom. ID and passcode details are listed in our description.
A special thanks goes out to those who do service for this meeting: DJ Nick and DJ Rich, Bill W., Terry B., Yvonne, Darren, Renee. On security, co-hosts and tech, Cathay, Camero. Your phone list. Coordinators are Kylie and Brother Lars. Nikki is your timer. Email manager is Kayla. Treasurer is Gretchen. Biz chair is The Di. World service rep is Mark C. Literature rep is Crystal B. Your WhatsApp manager is Bill W. Your speaker, finder, and host is TD. And this is Koji, your podcast manager. Singing meeting favorite, You Deserve to Be Loved. Here's Tracy Dawn.